Salary packaging, also known as salary sacrificing, is a completely legal way for people to pay less tax when earning money in Australia, and hopefully this video sheds some light on the topic. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about what salary packaging is, when it should be considered, what you can actually package, and what you need to consider before actually doing it. So what is it? Generally, a salary packaging agreement is put in place when going through the employment process, and what is contained within that package is negotiated as part of you being hired for that company. The opportunity comes where employers are able to offer their employees the ability to sacrifice a portion of their pre-tax salary to cover the cost of agreed benefits. And the positive effects of doing this is that you gain the benefit of increasing your take-home pay by a few $1,000 in the form of receiving those agreed benefits. You see, Australia's tax hierarchy works on a bracket system where you pay a certain amount of tax for every dollar you earn over the tax-free threshold. The more money you earn in a financial year means the more money you're going to have to pay to tax in that same financial year. So reducing your income by sacrificing a portion of your salary to be put towards the purchase of something like a phone or a car, just to name two very common examples in this case, can see you paying less tax and gaining something in value in return in the form of those goods. As a very bare bones example, let's say you've packaged your salary of $100,000, where $10,000 of those dollars are going to be salary sacrificed into superannuation. This would be assessed by the tax office as you having an income of $90,000, meaning you would only pay, I'm going to use a word very carefully here, income tax on that value. And as per the pay calculator, the income tax savings would be approximately $3,500. And this is where it's definitely worth mentioning that those earning in higher income tax brackets are going to gain an even bigger benefit from doing this. Generally, higher earners are the ones who are going to be benefiting the most from salary packaging, especially if you are already in the position where you can easily cover your basic costs and needs. Reducing your income in exchange for goods and paying less tax on that is going to be much more beneficial for those in that position. Moving on now, what you will be able to package will largely depend on what your employer offers, but as a rule of thumb, you generally will be able to package anything that you could potentially pay for with your post-tax income. One of the more common benefits you'll see within Australia in particular is having the ability to sacrifice into superannuation, which I just used as my example just a moment ago. For a bit more information, those contributions will be taxed at a discounted rate. Currently in Australia, if you salary sacrifice into super, those contributions are taxed at 15%. This means that for anyone salary sacrificing here in Australia, and if they earn over $45,000 a year, for every dollar they put into super, they will be saving half of what they would be paying in tax just because of that discount that super offers. That number grows the more you earn as well. It's also worth mentioning here that when you salary package, the amount you sacrifice is still considered as income against things like your HECS or HELP repayments, which is student debt, as well as how the Medicare levy surcharge is calculated if you don't have an appropriate level of hospital cover to offset that cost. And I've actually made videos discussing these very specific topics, and I've linked them down in the description below if they're things that you want to learn more about. Feel free to use those resources as you wish. And now would be a really good time to quickly hit that like and subscribe button. It really does go a long way for the channel, and I definitely do really appreciate the support. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to quickly do that. Now, what can you actually package? I have listed some of the more common ones down in the description below that employers are more likely to offer than not, and I'm just going to read through the list just quickly right now because I can't be bothered memorizing it. Aged care and disability costs for loved ones, car parking, childcare fees, clothing, council rates, financial advice, groceries, holiday accommodation, income protection insurance, mortgage repayments, portable electronic devices known as PEDs, private health insurance premiums, protective clothing also known as PPE, rent, school fees, software, superannuation, utility bills, and tools for your specific trade. That's a very quick and concise list of some very common ones that employers may offer. And of course, they are all categorized in alphabetical order. Now, as a bit of another talking point, I do have a few friends who work in healthcare, and as part of their package, they are able to load up a debit card, which allows them to spend a certain amount of money from that on certain things each financial year. And just as one very specific expense, they purchase groceries with that card. This is where, from my understanding, packaging is well worth it in circumstances where you're able to take full advantage of things like when you are going to be spending money anyway on on something like groceries, because, you know, people need to eat, it is a no-brainer. The benefit is going to outweigh the disadvantages, if any, because they would be spending that money anyway. Why not reduce your taxable income on that expense if the option is made available to you? Additionally, as well, I know I've kind of mentioned it, but every occupation and employer offer different benefits, but the two most common ones within Australia that benefit the most or have the most opportunities coming from packaging include charities and healthcare, like I just mentioned. This is where expenses such as rent and mortgage packaging usually comes into play, because these types of industries, organizations, charities have something known as a fringe benefits tax exemption. And this basically just means that these types of companies or organizations aren't required to pay fringe benefits tax to the government, making it so much easier to entice people in by offering it to their employees. Whereas industries such as my own, being engineering, there's not a lot of opportunity for my rent or mortgage to be salary packaged, really. It's not a benefit that I'm able to capitalize on. So that's where some of those industries just work a little bit better in terms of salary packaging, and lots of people definitely do capitalize on them. One thing definitely worth mentioning is if there is a fringe benefit tax on a benefit that you receive, your employer is liable to pay that tax. Just note that your salary may be reduced by the amount of that fringe benefit tax paid by your employer as part of your salary packaging agreement, meaning your employer might eat into what you're potentially going to save by packaging by using your salary to pay that owed tax. And this is where I'm going to say it, because I always have to say it. In these instances, always understand what you're getting yourself into before signing up for anything. Certain benefits have fringe benefit taxes. Understand what they are and how that could affect how much you're going to save. Do the math, and if it works out better, great, do it. If it doesn't, then understand how it's not going to be better, and definitely don't lose money unnecessarily, or necessarily don't spend money unnecessarily. Another consideration that would have caught some people out over the past couple of years is that the super guarantee, which is initiated by the government, is currently sitting at 10.5%. This means that here in Australia, if you earn money, companies have to pay you superannuation on top of your salary, and that rate is set at 10.5% of your current salary. Just note that that super guarantee is intended to go up each year, all the way up to 12%, I believe. And once we get to that point, or those increases, if you've packaged your superannuation into your salary, just note that your employer could potentially take that money out of your current salary, actually reducing your take-home pay to pay that super as part of that benefit. It's a little bit complicated. Definitely research it if you package your superannuation, and understand as this super guarantee goes up, it may affect how much you take home each pay. Simple as that. Overall, salary packaging can be very beneficial to people, and I want to be very clear here, who have an actual reason to spend the money that they're going to be sacrificing. A mortgage and grocery expenses are basically no-brainers, because in those instances, you're going to be spending the money no matter what. Whereas a car purchase might be something that you really need to think long and hard about if the benefit is going to be worth reducing your taxable income. In my opinion, reducing tax is great, but personally, only if I have a reason to spend that money, as I've just mentioned. If you are considering packaging your salary, I would definitely recommend speaking to an accountant or a licensed financial advisor to really gain insight into how much it would benefit you and what the best approach or best options would be based on the occupation, the job, the industry, how much you earn, a lot of different factors. They're definitely going to be able to provide that insight for you. And I would definitely not just sign something willy-nilly, not understanding what I'm getting myself into. And that is salary packaging in a nutshell. I hope you learned something today. I hope that it was an insightful video on the topic. If it was, please hit that like and subscribe button down below. It really does help the channel grow, like I said earlier, and I really, really do appreciate the support. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to do that. And with that being said, I will leave you there. Have a good day, have a good week. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.